Seattle, everyone. Let's dive right into the deep end. The Seattle Metro Chamber released its 6th installment of their Quality of Life Public Opinion Research Project.
Among the top issues for Seattle voters include public safety, homelessness, affordability, and downtown recovery. Joining us to continue the conversation this morning, our Chamber CEO, Rachel Smith, and Andrew Thibault with the EMC Research. You know, before we just jump straight into the data here, Rachel, why did the Chamber decide to start this research project?
Well, thanks so much for having us. And we really do this for two reasons. One is really because, you know, the people who live here, they vote, they recreate, and they care about quality of life. And so we want to be in touch with what they think about it. It also impacts employers' decisions to move here or to stay here. So for us, we really think it's important that we know as a business community where our residents, our employees, and our employees are in terms of these quality of life issues.
Okay, and Andrew, can you expand on how this research was conducted and what were some of the key findings?
Yeah, so it's a pretty robust sample. We did 700 interviews citywide. These days, when you do public opinion research, it's about half or more of the responses come from online surveys. So we do landlines and cells. There are still a few landlines left. And then we do email to web and text to web to make sure that we have a sample that represents the registered voter population of the city. And normally when you see polls, they are surveying likely voters, who's going to vote in a specific election. This project is not specific to any election. We wanted a really wide universe of respondents, so we do registered voters, and that means the sample tends to be younger, more progressive, more likely to be new to the city, more likely to be renters. So it's a very wide and representative sample.
All right, so let's compare this to years past. How does this survey maybe compare or differ from what's been done in the past, and what does it say about the direction the city's going?
Yeah, well, I'll say two things. What I see when I look at this data is what I'm affectionately calling incremental optimism, meaning that people are feeling a little better about the direction of the city. Every sort of measure that we look at is up just a point or two, and there's a couple of key ones there. 5% of people, when sort of all things considered, think that growth and development has been a good thing for their neighborhood and the region. We also saw 5% fewer people say they're worried about the future of downtown, and 5% more people are proud to call themselves a Seattleite. So those, you know, small changes are what lead me to see sort of incremental optimism. But the other thing that we see loud and clear, if you will, from the data is really a focus on the fundamentals. People want to see city government getting back to basics, filling potholes, maintaining parks, and really, you know, taking care of those sort of everyday parts of our city environment that impact us.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it makes sense when you think about the broader context here. When we ask people, how concerned are you about your personal financial situation given current economic conditions, 60% say they are concerned. When you ask people about the level of taxes in the city of Seattle for the level of services you get, more than 60% say that taxes are too high for the level of services. So that's about a return on investment. So when you think about it in our own lives, people are going through this kind of back to basics. They're feeling cost pressure, cost of living pressure. And so it makes sense that they also would think that government needs to be focusing on the basics when money's a little bit tighter.
Yeah, things are getting more expensive, but I like that incremental optimism. I think it counts. Rachel, based on these findings, we also saw that people want more dining and shopping options, but we just learned the other day another big brand, Lululemon, closing their location in Pacific Place in downtown. What will it take to keep businesses in the city?
Yeah, I think, you know, interestingly, this is voter research, but we also do a lot of research with our own businesses, our own members here at the Chamber, and the issues are almost identical. So, you know, businesses want to see public safety addressed, they want to see homelessness addressed, and they want their employees to be able to afford to live here. So I think, you know, if we actually address those issues, not only are we going to satisfy the voters, but that is what we hear from businesses in terms of what they need downtown. And I think we know we've got work to do. If you come downtown as often as I do, which is every day, you see that things are getting better. But we know we have work to do, and we're doing that in partnership with the Downtown Seattle Association and the City of Seattle. To really make downtown as vibrant and desirable as we can for businesses and for the people who want to visit them.
Okay, well, we'll be watching to see how Seattle does rise to the occasion in the time to come. Thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. That brings us to our poll question this morning. Go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen to vote. We're asking this: what issues are you most concerned about in Seattle? So far, the majority of you, 69%, say crime and public safety. 11% of you say you don't live in Seattle, so maybe it doesn't matter as much. 12% of you say homelessness. 8% of you say affordable housing. You can also be a part of the ARC Seattle team too. You can weigh in, let us know what you think. Just use the hashtag ARC Seattle on social media.
Okay, you're one of those downtown folks.
I am.
What's your vibe on the overall city?
I don't mind it. There are some problems. I do see, a lot of people who are unhoused. I see public drug use a lot. That's probably my biggest concern as a resident of downtown. But I do know that there are some businesses that are still thriving down there. I go to the movies a lot at Pacific Place, so I think people just maybe have to find ways to become more comfortable, to come back and enjoy it, because there are some pleasures, especially during the holidays when the lights are up and the big tree is, in front of Macy's. It's nice. It's not bad.
I was listening to a report over on our sister station on KOMO, and they were talking about how when these people report that they are generally feeling better and that the experience in the city is better now, it takes time still for the perception to kick in. So there's kind of this delayed effect of when improvement happens and then how long it takes for people to recognize the improvement. So incremental optimism, incremental for sure. It happens a little bit at a time.
For sure, yeah.
8:42 right now, still ahead.